The Christian church year is such a treasure. I love this fitting and orderly way that we go through the scriptures throughout the year, everything revolving around the life of Christ and especially revolving around his death and his resurrection, Good Friday and Easter. I love the Christian church here. It is such a treasure. And some people roll their eyes at that or get angry even and say, well, we don't have to do that. And that's true. And we don't have to do things the way that we do. We don't have to celebrate Easter or Good Friday. We don't have to celebrate Christmas. We can do things in another way, another fitting and orderly way to go through the whole truth of Scripture and to deliver God's grace to his people. You're right. We do not have to enjoy these festivals and follow this church here. But that usually comes from people who are stuck in a law mindset. Law is do this, don't do that. And when people are stuck in that, they can't get by anything, it seems, without saying, well, we don't have to do it that way. We don't have to. We have freedom. But what tends to happen is people are unable to see gifts and treasures for what they are because they're so busy pointing the finger and saying, no, we don't have to. You can't say that. The Christian church here is all about Christ, and it's a wonderful treasure. And yesterday was one of my favorite Sundays of the whole church here. It's the fourth Sunday in the season of Lent. It's called Laetare. It's about joy. It's about rejoicing, and that seems a little different than the rest of the season of Lent. This fourth Sunday is like an oasis in the desert, and it comes from the readings that are there. We have Jesus out in a desolate place where there's not nearly enough food for 5,000 empty bellies. And in Jesus, the little bit of bread, little bit of fish in his hands are more than enough to satisfy everyone in that desolate place. And in the somber season of Lent, we have this little oasis in the middle, as if to say, don't worry, Christian. I know we're talking a lot about sin, and we've been talking about the devil for a few weeks in a row, and demons and things like that, but you know where this is going. Easter is coming. We're almost there. In this way, the fitting and orderly way that we're going through the church here also gives us an example to follow in our own lives. When we live and find ourselves in difficult times, desolate times and desperate times, when it doesn't seem like there's nearly enough and everything's falling apart, which is so often as we're walking through this valley of the shadow of death, when we see all around us so much not enough, so much broken, remember that in Jesus, everything's okay. We have enough in him. He is our oasis in the wasteland of this life. And in the gospel, where he delivers himself to us in word and in sacrament, we are refreshed during a difficult time. As if to say, don't worry, dear Christian, I know this life is long and difficult and hard, but you know where this is going. The great Easter is coming. The day of resurrection is on its way. You can have joy, even in the midst of suffering and desolation, because you know what's coming. That's a wonderful thing that I think we learn from the way that the church year is laid out in this fitting and orderly way, that here in the middle of Lent, we're reminded, don't worry, Easter's coming. And in this difficult life where we are living in and walking through the valley of the shadow of death, we're reminded, don't worry, the Good Shepherd is with you. Easter is coming. The day of resurrection is near. You will see your Redeemer standing upon the earth, and he is enough for you. Dear people of God, rejoice in this fourth week of Lent, and remember, Easter is coming. God's peace be with you today.